Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Jacket and Tie. My dad went to Worcester Polytechnic Institute in the mid-60s, back when it was still all men. His dining hall was in his dorm. And apparently, one year, an ambitious new administrator got the bright idea that the place needed more class and proposed a jacket and tie required dress code policy for dinner in the dining hall. The students were incensed, and the comment period was filled with universal objections and complaints. But the policy was imposed nonetheless. The students were outraged, and fierce debates raged about how they were going to fight back against this bureaucratic overreach. The discussion flowed deep into the night. So the first meal of the new policy arrives, and the dining hall staff, mostly women, opens up for dinner service, and their eyes nearly pop out of their heads. Waiting politely in line, the entire student body have come downstairs, and as required, they are all wearing jackets and ties, and nothing else. Suffice it to say, the policy was quickly reversed, and no one has ever tried to impose a similar dress code on WPI students since. The next story is called Only Answer. During a company team building event, a host was conducting the entire thing. He was saying things as an icebreaker to engage everyone. When he asked a question, no one responded. So he said, "Hey guys, whenever I ask a question, I want you guys to say A, okay? Cue Malicious Compliance." His next question was, "Are you guys enjoying?" A. He was happy that we were engaging with him. After a while he asked a serious question. "Has everyone eaten lunch already?" A. He smiles but looks rattled. Another serious question. "Does anyone have any medical conditions?" A. He loses it, but tried to control himself. Defeated, he said, "Okay everyone, stop with the A. Just answer my questions with real answers, okay? A." The third story is called Following the Rules. Years ago, I worked for a defense contractor in heavy manufacturing and welding. Every process and fitting was thoroughly documented. Once a part was ready for welding, it was inspected by quality control. One inspector had a habit of writing rejection reports and passing them off to the next shift to avoid doing the paperwork himself. Typically, the issue he flagged was minor, often an engineering problem, and we would weld it as usual. One day, my partner and I were stuck with one of these rejected parts and decided to follow the proper repair procedures. We removed the assembly and performed an edge build-up on the piece, which we normally did without removing it. This time we followed the exact steps, and by the end of our shift, the assembly was ready for the day crew. The day shift workers were upset, and the supervisors were angry. When we came in the following night, we were confronted about our actions. We showed them that we had followed the correct repair procedure. After that, we were no longer stuck with handling these issues. The inspector was reassigned, and the assembly errors were addressed. I enjoyed using their own procedures to prove a point. After that, there were no more games or rushing around. The last story is called Lazy Partner. A few semesters ago, I was taking a course in urban design. Everyone was grouped into teams of 3, but one of my group members wanted to join another group with their friend, leaving me with just one partner. For some reason, the professor was okay with this arrangement. I wasn't too worried, since I was confident in my ability to do the work. The course was a combination of previous studio courses and covered a massive topic: urban planning, which included architectural design, environmental sustainability, urban infrastructure, and historic preservation. When brainstorming with my partner, I suggested focusing on residential projects, as housing was a huge need in New York City. However, my partner seemed more interested in industrial buildings, so I shifted the focus to that. Despite this, I got the impression that he just wanted me to take the lead, as he rarely gave input and mostly agreed with whatever I suggested. As the weeks passed, I kept my partner updated on my progress through WhatsApp, but I hardly received any feedback or updates from him, which was frustrating. Still, I was confident my work would get us through the upcoming presentation. Then things took a turn for the worse. I developed a terrible kidney stone. It wasn't from a poor diet, but ironically from eating too many black beans and chickpeas. It landed me in the ER, where I was on all sorts of pain meds and had to stay for several nights. The stone was so large that it got stuck, and I needed surgery to have a stent placed. After several agonizing weeks, I finally started to recover. Despite all this, I still managed to work on the project. To my surprise, I discovered that my partner had done absolutely nothing during this time, just waiting for me to continue my work. To make it worse, he even tried to present my work as his own. I couldn't believe it. I emailed the professor and explained the situation, providing screenshots of our chat and the project file, which included the history log showing my contributions. The professor reminded me that for the final submission, everyone had to add their initials to the slides they worked on. By the time I was ready to present, I was fully recovered. I initially left out the initials during the presentation. They were only required for the final submission, to see what my partner would do. I even tried to cut him some slack by giving him talking points on parts he could claim, even though I had done all the work. But he didn't take the hint. Instead, he kept interrupting me during the presentation, trying to act like he was deeply involved. He mostly just repeated what I had already said without adding anything valuable. There were several judges from the industry at the final presentation, and it became clear they knew who had done the work, as they directed most of the questions at me. I knew the project inside and out. On the last day to submit, I made sure to include my initials on every single slide. Apparently, my partner missed the memo about adding initials and ended up submitting an older version of my work. A few weeks later, I checked in with him to ask what grade he received. He told me he got a C+ and seemed surprised when I told him I received an A-. He then said he was going to talk to the professor about why he got such a low grade. Honestly, I couldn't believe the nerve. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.